Hey guys, how y'all doing? So, in the past, I have had comments on this channel asking people, do I read? Have you read any good books? Do you recommend anything? And, a lot of people like an actual biography of someone in real life, right? Well, I normally don't make a video, but out of all the books I've read, okay, the Bible aside, number one, beginning to end, because those stories to me are not stories, they're actual events. And when you go through like the Old Testament, you're like, dang, the Lord was like fire and wind and what, I mean, the stories are amazing. So to me, I would recommend the Bible, hands down, number one. Dang. Okay, but I am a believer, so that is actual testimony in my opinion. But on everything else, if I went back and I thought about the books that I read, you guys are gonna laugh. Okay, I didn't like Western anything. I didn't like anything to do with the desert or Westerns, and my husband loves all of that. We went down to, let's see, that would be southeast Arizona, where there's Fort Huachuca, Cochise County, then you got Bisbee, and you got Tombstone. Well, we went down there and we had a ton of fun in Tombstone. Absolutely loved it. I think I have a couple of videos on my adventure channel, Matrix 7 Adventure, on some Tombstone while we were there. But when I got back, I got a hold of this. Okay, this is Wyatt Earp's biography, and Stuart Lake is the one that wrote it. And there is on Prime, there is Wyatt Earp, the legend or something, and they go off of everything that's in this book to make the series on Prime. He did this late in life at 80. Here is a picture of Wyatt. How old was Wyatt there? Oh, he's only in his 20s in that above picture right there. He's in his 20s there. And here is Wyatt, distinguished, good-looking, older guy at 80. That picture is 80. When he actually sat down with Stuart Lake because he couldn't get anyone to write his biography. And so I picked up this book. You guys, I am not kidding. This is the one of the best books I've ever read, because it's the actual account of Wyatt Earp. And here you've got his two brothers, Virgil Earp and Morgan, and then you got Doc Holliday and Bat Masterson. And he was, of course, best buds with Doc and Bat, but him and Doc had a relationship that was amazing. Anyway, this is one of the best books I have ever read. What this man did, what Wyatt did, do you know my son, or not my son, my sister's son, my nephew, we named him after Wyatt Earp. This guy was a man's man and a ladies' man. Man, he was not afraid of nothing. He would, by the time he got to Tombstone, he had, being a cop, sheriff, marshal, whatever, back in the day, he had a lot of experience under his belt, because he was in Dodge City, he was in Wichita, and and then he moseyed over to Tombstone. And I'll tell you what he did before he became a cop. He would buffalo, he would mine. He came from a family of attorneys, so the man was smart, patient, kind. You read this book, women, tell you what, I finished this book. I told my husband, you need to read this book. I says, this guy is right up your alley. Wyatt Earp was an amazing man. He really was. And I don't know how to tell you this, honey, but talking to my husband, I says, I don't know how to tell you this, but I just fell in love with a dead man. He looks at me like, what? You guys, this guy, men would love him, the respect he demands, and you know, this book is so good. And he really had a hard time when he went to California to try to get anyone to get anybody to write his story. And this Stuart Lake came along, and I'll tell you what. For instance, on the back here, let me just read you a couple of paragraphs. It says, no man could have a more loyal friend than Wyatt Earp, nor a more dangerous enemy. Who said that? Bat Masterson. No man could have a more loyal friend than Wyatt Earp might be, nor a more dangerous enemy. Bat Masterson. Earp never hunted trouble, but he was ready for any that came his way. And that was Deputy Marshal Jimmy Cairns, Wichita, Kansas. This is from what Wyatt said. I am not ashamed of anything I have ever did. Wyatt Earp. Those are just some... Oops. This book is hard to find. You might be able to find it online at like Amazon. I seen one copy in a library in Salt Lake, but that was it. I bought this because before I even knew what Wyatt Earp was all about, I had been in Tombstone and I thought, oh, this is nice. But we went back down to Tombstone and it just came alive. It came alive. This guy, if he was alive today, dang. Yeah, my husband have competition. Good thing he's dead, right? But if you want a good biography and how it was like in the West in the 1800s, the late 18s, oh man, I'll tell you what, this is it. This is it. It is so good. And the only pictures you really get are just the front and the back, the one with his brothers and the one of him. But they say if you knew this man, he was amazing. And when after reading the book, and I've been watching that series on Prime of Wyatt Earp. There's two different series. This one is the one with what's the guy that plays him? Is a good-looking guys, both of them that play Wyatt Earp. There's two different series, but there is one that actually comes from Stuart Lake, from this book, so you could get to know Wyatt and how he really was. Wyatt didn't like to shoot. So like the guys in, whether it be Wichita, Dodge, or Tombstone, he would buffalo them, which means he would take the butt of his gun and he would just whack them upside the head and take him to jail, you know? So, but he had a kind heart and chivalry and brave. And anyway, this is a dang good book. So just for those of you that are readers out there, and you are open to the West and how it was back in the day, this is something that I highly, highly, highly recommend. Dang, it's good. And ladies, I'm just warning you, you just might fall in love with a dead man. Interesting. Put my old lady glasses back on. Okay, guys, there you go. 10 out of 10. Awesome. Awesome. Best biography I've ever read, because no one was like Wyatt. No one. Okay, guys, see you later.